At this 7-year-old, I was tasked to go out and get a tuft off of a white-tailed deer. And everybody knows if they've had any hunting experience, or most of you probably lived on farms and stuff, you know that a white-tailed deer is pretty wily. And he's wary of the human beings. So I went to my personal grandfather, and I asked him, how am I going to do this? I'm tasked to do this. He said, you got to go live with them. He said, and pretty soon, he said, they'll accept you. And then you can get this tuft out of the white-tailed deer's tail. Okay, the first week, they wouldn't have nothing to do with me. They'd leave. The second week, they'd let me get around them a little bit. But then the third week, now I was out there all this time. I didn't go home to Mama. In fact, I hadn't seen my mother in quite a while. She would come visit. She was a clan mother by chance or by selection. At any rate, she hadn't seen me in this amount of time, and I didn't go home. I stayed out there and lived off the land. But in the fourth week, I was sleeping with them. And I'd get up to this old doe, and she'd get up and leave. I'd wait a while. When she'd bed down again, I'd go bed down beside her. And pretty soon, 3-4 nights later, I was right up again her. And then I'd take and I'd pull hair just right where I was laying. And she'd just kind of flip her hide like a fly biting her. And pretty soon, this was about the 6th or 7th night, I reached back and gave her a tail a tug, and she didn't move, so I grabbed me a whole handful and jerked. And all she did was twist her tail, so I put it in my Watecha bag, which is a medicine bag. I put that in there, and I wore it around my neck. And I took it back to them, and they didn't believe it. But there they had it, see? So I had to explain how I done it. And so they give a big feast. And that's where I got part of my name, which is Sibby Lebeau. And in English, it's down on my birth certificate as Sibby. Then my brothers had to shorten it and call me Sib, which was dumb. I don't like nicknames. But they gave me this big feast, and we went back into more schooling. But we learned the language, and I learned to speak 2 different dialects by the time I was 5 years old. And I'm going to read some of the translations here that I got. I have to read it because I can tell you an Indian, but you wouldn't understand. Because most of you don't speak American. So I best get on with find it here. And I'm legally blind. And said, what's your eyesight? I said, I'm blind in this eye and I can't see out of this one. Okay. The grandfather, what did I do? Yeah, that's my drum. The grandfather told me that every time that I went any place, and when you get to know and you know it, he said, you share it. And he also told me that if it's not of the Spirit, it's not in it. The grandfathers say so, say so. I am Lakota, which I already told you. A man in his 83rd winter. But 2 generations away from the tribal rememberers. Some of our first lessons that we learned was about listening. Listening. That's a trait that this society does not have a very good track record in, listening. My wife can interrupt me. She's Caucasian, by the way, Irish. She can interrupt and never know that she even interrupted me. And ladies and gentlemen, when she gets together with her daughters, there's a group talking over here, and there's a group talking over here, and this is spooky. One from over here will answer this one over here, and what's spooky about it, they know what's going on. Or at least the answers seem plausible.